So
Yeah.
Oh well. All right, let's go ahead and get into this wild card weekend. I know we got the NBA roundtable waiting to talk some talk some basketball. The first game of the wild card weekend: Las Vegas Raiders 10-7 versus Cincinnati 10-7. It's a 4:30 start in Cincy. Derek Carr 428 for 626 yards, 4,800 yards passing, 23 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. Right now they have Brandon Allen. I'm not sure what's going on with Burrow. I didn't really watch the game the other day. 17 for 34, 149 yards, two touchdowns, and an 81.6 quarterback rating. Um, I've been following Raiders because I had the running back and Waller as my tight end in fantasy football, so I've been following them. Cincinnati is playing some good ball. Jamar Chase is a problem. Vegas does have some issues on defense with wide receivers, so Cincy being at home, I'm gonna go with Cincy in this game. DujunneaB, what do you say?
Definitely taking the Bengals. I like what Carr's been doing. It's been very fun to watch. But Joe Burrow was resting in this last game. I'm going with Cincy. It's going to be fun. That connection with him and Jamar Chase is just absolutely electric. They will be ready. The buck stops. They did it for Madden. They got in, but it's over after this.
No doubt, no doubt. What about you, Robbie?
um, I think Cincinnati's gonna win. I think I don't know. I actually I kind of want to ask Tim's take here. He's sitting here.
No, I'm biased.
Yeah, I know. He hates Cincinnati. I'm a big.
I mean, eventually they have to win a playoff game. It's the law of averages, and I think Marvin Lewis was more of a choker. So
No, this
they have a
definitely, yeah, I think they're definitely
new
going to get it.
quarterback, new coach.
Yeah, I turned on Tim's game but yeah, like we'll get Tim's take as well, just because I think it could be interesting just to do a quick take. But I'm going with Cincinnati winning this game, but you can go to the next game.
All right, then we have 8:15 on Saturday. New England 10-7 versus the back-to-back AFC East champion Buffalo Bills at 11-6. The Bills handed in New England a butt whipping the last time to win the division. As I always say, can't go against the hoodie. Even though they're in Buffalo and Josh Allen's playing some good ball, they got Mac Jones for the New England 352 attempts out of 521. 352 completions out of 521 attempts, 3,800 yards, 22 touchdowns, 13 interceptions for 92.5 quarterback rating. Josh Allen 409 completions, 646 attempts, 4,407 yards, 36 touchdowns, 15 interceptions with a 92.2 quarterback rating. As well as Buffalo has been playing, they're going to be at home. That stadium is going to be crazy. I can't go against the hoodie in playoffs, man. I just can't do it. I'm going to go with Belichick for the upset because I don't see him losing twice to the Bills in the last 4 weeks and the way they got beat a few weeks ago. I think Bill is very upset and has a point to prove this game. What about you, DujunneaB?
Buffalo. I'm going with Josh Allen. Buffalo Bills are they are a different team, and I think the young cat has done a good job, and Jones done a good job this season. I think he showed it a little bit of his youth here in the last game. This playoff football is a little bit different, and I understand the hoodie understands that, but the young QB has not experienced that yet. And I think that's going to make the difference in the ball game. Josh Allen is his ability to use his legs along with his arm is going to make the difference in this ball game. They're going to be at home. Bills Mafia is going to be crazy, and I'm going with the Bills with this one.
Tim, what do you say?
I think Buffalo will win too, just because Josh Allen won a couple playoff games last year, so he's not going to be afraid of the big stage. And Buffalo has a great home crowd too. Also, New England struggled the last couple weeks. They didn't look that good against Miami. They kind of came back, but they looked really bad in the first half, and Miami didn't even make the playoffs. So I think Buffalo just is looking better right now, and it's going to be a close game, but I think you can count on Buffalo's offense now.
Yeah, well, I think it's interesting. The Bills, they lost 2 games to New England and Tampa Bay back to back, and then after that, they went on a winning streak. They beat Carolina, and they went to New England and won. They beat Atlanta and the Jets. Now, Atlanta and the Jets aren't great, but they were still able to come away with pretty decisive victories there. So, especially at home, they've been playing pretty well. And my edge, I think, is to give it to Buffalo. I think that they've got a more veteran team. In some ways, like they feel more cohesive as a team to me than New England does.
Yeah, I think New England's gonna run the ball, because the dual threat they have in running the ball, I think they're gonna try to get a lead and pound the ball and keep the ball out of Buffalo's potent offense and Josh Allen's hands. I think that's going to be Belichick's game plan going into this game. And that's for Saturday. Now going into Sunday, we got 3 games on Sunday. You got Philly 9-8 versus Tampa Bay 13-4 in Tampa. That's a 1:00 start. As of right now, Philly, they have Mishnu slated as a starter. He's 41 for 60, 439 yards, 4 touchdowns, and an interception. I'm sure Hurts is probably going to play. He probably just played yesterday. And Tom Brady, the ageless wonder, 455 out of 719, 5,316 yards, 43 touchdowns, 12 interceptions with a 102 quarterback rating. I want that man tested. Something ain't right. There's no way in the hell this man could be this good at this old, man. I'm sorry. Something ain't right, man. I want him tested for HGH, performance-enhancing substances, stick them on his gloves. I want him tested for everything. There's no way this man should be putting up these numbers at this age with Tampa Bay. It's crazy.
And one of their best players just poof gone, right? Just like
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter though. It's not gonna but he still is a good player, and it's just he just could be gone, and it's still not gonna stop them.
I want this man tested. Honestly, I need some conclusive tests, because this like you said, he hasn't even had Gronk, and he's still putting up these numbers. It's insane. I'm going with Tampa in this game. I'm conflicted. Can't root for Philly. Don't want to root for Brady, but the way they're playing right now, and then Brady wants to have a handful of rings. I can't go against him in this game. What do you say, Rob? I go to you first, Robbie.
I don't know. I think I'm gonna go with the Buccaneers. I think for me, they're just so much better. I don't believe in the Eagles. I know they had some good wins, but for them to go to Tampa Bay, it was a different situation when Tampa Bay came to Washington, and Washington almost beat them. I just don't think that the Eagles go down to Tampa Bay, especially with the preparation. And I feel like the Buccaneers now have a little bit of a chip on their shoulder with all this drama that kind of got thrown their way. And I think they're gonna want to try to prove something that maybe they didn't need that player anyway. So people are gonna say shit if they lose, right? Because they're gonna be like, well, they had a great player and it all blew up in their face. So
the only asterisk is the running game of Philly. If they can get that running game going with Hurts, they can cause a problem in Tampa. What do you say, DujunneaB?
Yeah, there's a concern. There's a little bit of concern. You see what Tampa did with the Jets. I mean, there's no reason why they should have been in those type of dogfights with the Jets. They struggled down the stretch. Eagles went 7-4 over their last 11 games. And the last time that they played the Bucks, it was 28-22. It was back in week 6, though. Yeah, I'm going with Tampa Bay because it's in Tampa Bay, but I would not be surprised if the Eagles pulled out a close one. And like you said, if the Eagles can get that run game going with Hurts and the combination of backs that they have, and kind of get that defense, out of position, getting Tom Brady and getting the defense, really their defense being able to tee off a little bit and getting after Brady, it could be a problem. But at the end of the day, I think they have a little bit of chip on their shoulder. You got, Antonio Brown running his mouth and talking a lot of trash about everybody at this point, and I think they have something to prove. I don't think they're going to make it to the Super Bowl, but they definitely getting past the Eagles, though.
Real quickly, I have one other stat that I wanted to point out. They've only lost 4 games all season, right? So it's New Orleans is the only game that they lost at home. They lost at 9-0, which is a strange game. But all the other losses were on the road: Washington, New Orleans, and the Rams, right? So at home they were almost perfect.
Right.
So I just think that they're a different team down there, and especially down the stretch that they
Also,
kind of
I also got to give a shout out to Mike Evans for, I believe I saw the stat, he's the first running wide receiver in NFL history to have his first 8 seasons in the league have 1,000-yard seasons. So I got to give him a shout out for that.
And Carol, do you know where Mike Evans went to college?
Was it Texas A&M?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's an Aggie.
Only reason I knew because your wife. Only reason I knew because your wife goes there, so I figured.
There you go. But I'm just saying it.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I don't watch college, but I had a good idea that it was Texas A&M because I know Robbie's wife was a Texas
That's
A&M.
good. You picked up on clues. That's good.
Yeah. I figured, hey, you throw it out there. That you throw the alley up there. I got to oop it, man. We getting the basketball coverage. Tim, so what do you say about this Philly Tampa game?
Amazing.
I think Tampa's definitely going to win. They just score too much, and Tom Brady's focused. I mean, he's not going to lose in the first round. Philly, I think, will give him a game, though, because they could slow it down and keep Brady on the sidelines. But, yeah, you got to go with Tampa in this game.
Definitely. All right, the second game of Sunday was the San Francisco at 10-7 versus Dallas 12-5 in Dallas at 4:30. Jimmy Garoppolo 301 for 441 for 3,810 yards, 20 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, 98.7 quarterback rating. Dak Prescott 410 out of 596, 4,449 yards, 37 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, with a 104.2 quarterback rating. Now, this game, I can honestly say I hope both teams lose because I don't want San Fran to win because of Trent Williams' punk ass, and I can never root for Dallas. So I'm really conflicted in this game. I guess
it's very simple, Carol. We don't curse often, but it's always fuck the Cowboys on this podcast. So
but right now in my life, fuck Trent Williams and fuck the Cowboys is about
no
even
one
to
can
me.
ever be more than fuck the Cowboys in the playoffs. We root against the Cowboys in the playoffs. We're a Washington football team podcast. It's how it's supposed to go.
I'm going to go for San Fran. I just had to get the fuck Trent Williams out there. I'm just saying.
I mean, that's so minor to me. In the grand scheme of my hatred of a franchise.
As an ex-player, and myself, and the way that whole debacle went down with him and him whining to the press, and then when we said we wanted to have a investigation, oh no, we don't need to, and I would never play for the Washington football team. All of that dramatic BS, I can't stand. To me, it was a bitch move, in my opinion. That's just me with Trent.
I mean,
that's just me. I'm sorry. That was just a bitch move. It reminded me of LeVar Arrington when he left because his agent screwed up his contract, and then he wanted to demonize Joe Gibbs and talk about how bad Joe Gibbs and all. But it was your agent that screwed up, and then he went and had the bike accident that he never played again. When he came back down here to D.C. riding his motorcycle. Not saying I'm happy it happened, but karma's a bitch. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. Today, what you got to say?
Regardless, it's always fuck the Cowboys. But I mean, that's fine. I mean, I'd be interested to see if anyone else doesn't feel this way. I think the Cowboys are going to win. I'm going to root for San Francisco. I just think that the Cowboys are the better team. But I could be wrong. But I just don't really. San Francisco doesn't scare me. Not that the Cowboys are amazing. I just think they're playing in Dallas. I'd just be surprised if the 49ers go there and get a victory. But I mean,
I
everyone can
think
give their
Kyle
own
still
take
got a
on
little
it. But
Washington in him with that fuck the Cowboys. I think he's going to come out with a good game plan against the Cowboys.
This is my thing. This is my thing, and I want people to remember this. Okay, with the Cowboys, and I've talked to many Cowboys fans about this, and I know right now they riding high because they, 56 points against the Eagles. It was the Eagles and their backups. I don't want to hear no more about that. Go back and look at games when they mattered against teams that were good. They struggled early. They struggled early because you got Kellen Moore being early days Kyle Shanahan doing cutesy stuff early and not sticking with stuff that works. They don't run the ball. They passing the ball all over the yard, throwing it around, and putting Dak in unfavorable positions. And then you got these dumb idiots, talking heads, sitting on their little shows talking about how Dak needs to do better, this, that, and the other. No, coaching needs to do better. And then you got a fat chump called a head coach, Jay Gruden 2.0, that doesn't know how to do clock management over there, okay? Look at the games that they've almost won, and then you look at the games that they lost against teams they had no business losing to. In that game early against the Eagles, they were fighting to go tit for tat before they started pulling away. It's disgusting, all right? You're going against a 49ers team that don't have nothing to lose. And I've heard Dallas Cowboys fans talking about something. Oh, well, we didn't beat Arizona. We didn't want to play Arizona. Get out of here. You don't want to play a 49ers team that you, first of all, haven't played all season, so you don't have a clue. You have no tape. You have no tendencies. You don't know what they're going to come in here and do in Dallas, first off. Second of all, they don't have nothing to lose. So don't give me this stuff about you don't want to play Arizona again because you didn't beat them. Look, Arizona don't have D-Hop, and again, they're reeling. But you know what? Again, against the Arizona team that for the 3 weeks before they saw y'all, they were all out of control and couldn't do jack. And then all of a sudden looked like world beaters, the Super Bowl champs when they rolled in there. Why? Because your coaching staff is trash. Kellen Moore and Mr. McCarthy are dumpster fires, and they put your boy on the defensive side at a disadvantage. Don't be surprised. Everybody all of a sudden picking the Cowboys like it's just a sure thing. I'm telling you right now, I'm right here and I'm standing by it. I'm going with the 49ers because you don't want to see the 49ers because they don't have a darn thing to lose. They came back and beat a Rams team that's got everybody. They went and stole every all-star to go in there, and they came back and won that football game with a Jimmy Garoppolo, with no Trent Williams. Yes, that bum, the crybaby. Now they're going to have him back, and they're going to go into Dallas, which is not that same Cowboys stadium that y'all used to have. It ain't feared like that no more, all right? So don't give me that crap about, 56, we beat the Washington football team and the Eagles. I don't want to hear that crap. Go look at the teams that y'all played against that are good teams. You struggle. And Kellen Moore, your coaches are Kellen Moore, offensive coordinator, and Mike McCarthy. It's playoff time. All right? You don't want to see the 49ers. If they come out here starting that stuff they do every game, 3 and outs, Dak looking around like, what the heck's going on, man? Why aren't we running the ball? You got Zeke like, feed me. Why you not feeding me? And y'all not using Pollard like you're supposed to because you want to throw it around the yard and look like all these, like get a greatest show on turf. You going to get smoked because you know what Kyle Shanahan's going to do. Ground and pound, play action over the top. And your boy, I love Diggs. He's my guy. But he giving up the most yards to wide receivers because he's greedy. He like picks, but he also get burnt. And Debo going to get him some. So I'm going with the 49ers. But just go back and look at the tape. And I know Cowboys fan going to be, whatever. Go back and look at the tape. Go back and look at the season. And go back and look at how your offense struggled all season long. All right? I don't want to hear the crap. It's a loss. Going out in the first round. Then we have all excuses, and they'll be talking about, well, at least we beat the Washington football team. We went 6-0 in the division. Shut up.
And this Cowboys rant was brought to you by DujunneaB and the Breaker.
I
Tim,
love
what do
it
you?
though. I love it. I love it. My
I've
favorite
never
rant
heard
of the year.
DujunneaB go this hard on another team besides the Washington football team in a long time. Tim, what is your take on this Dallas San
I
Francisco
mean, you
game?
can't really go against the 49ers after that. It's pretty hard to follow that. I do hate Dallas. Their fans are way too arrogant. My boss is a Dallas fan. So, I mean, they are a better team, but I just think they choke in the playoffs like since Emmitt Smith, basically. I mean, they barely have won any playoff games, and they've made it and lost at home. So I think they could definitely lose a close game. Just what the 49ers did against the Rams, that's really impressive. I mean, it wasn't a real road game because they had so many fans in LA, but that was a really good team, and that was a team playing to win a division, and they just coughed it up at home. So I think if they could win that game, they could win in Dallas for sure.
Definitely, definitely. All right, the last game of Sunday is Pittsburgh 9-7, who found the way to make it to the playoffs. Almost on the brink of a tie that would have knocked them out at Las Vegas last night. I was watching like, oh my God, let me find out how this is going to happen. But Pittsburgh 9-7 versus Kansas City 12-5 in Kansas City at 8:15 start. Two cold weather teams in the AFC battle for the wild card. Wow. Big Ben in his final hurrah, hurrah. He was 390 for 605, 3,740 yards, 22 touchdowns, 10 interceptions with an 86.8 quarterback rating. Pat Mahomes, 436 for 658, 4,833 yards, 37 touchdowns, 13 interceptions with a 98.5 quarterback rating. Pittsburgh, Kansas City. With Pittsburgh, riding the Ben train, found a way to make it to the playoffs after a heroic victory against Baltimore, and then biting their nails down to the nub last night watching the Vegas Chargers game. To me, this one is a coin toss. Guess I'm gonna ride with Pittsburgh and Mike Tomlin with 15 seasons, no losing seasons, and taking his team to the playoffs. Andy Reid, offensive coordinator, we know his track record. He got a Super Bowl with Kansas City, but we also know his playoff track record. I'm going to have confidence say Pittsburgh will win this game on Sunday night. I just think the defense, they're going to find a way to slow down the Kansas City offense. Tyreek Hill, who is my fantasy football wide receiver the last 2 weeks, has done absolutely nothing because he's not 100%. So I'm thinking Pittsburgh is going to come in and out physical Kansas City and shock the wild card weekend and beating Kansas City in Kansas City. Dujunne, what do you say?
Man, that's a pick, man. That's a pick. Ben just can't move. I can see the Najee Harris and them being physical because I don't trust Kansas City's defense that much. They're Jekyll and Hyde. Sometimes they can really do some spectacular stuff and be physical. I just can't go against Pat Mahomes and Kelsey. That combination, and they have other guys that will step up. I'm definitely going with the Chiefs. Ben can't move, and honestly, I just want Ben to go home. Like it's cute, man, and it's cute, and you had a nice career. It's time for you to go home now. I love Mike Tomlin. I love him, but it's time for Ben to go home. Like this story, I don't want this story to get any bigger than what it is. I don't want Ben to get all this play and this love. He don't deserve none of that. He got enough love as it is. You good. You made it to the playoffs by beating a Baltimore team that was without Jackson. Their defense there was no defense. I mean, the defense was never there the whole season. So you got to win, and you really shouldn't have been there because the Chargers were just stupid. Young coach being a dummy. All he had to do was just let the time run out. No, he wanted to show how big his cojones was and call a dumb timeout because he didn't want to end in a tie, I guess, and go to the playoffs and send somebody home. He wanted to go home. He guess he had fishing obligations. I don't know. But I'm going with Kansas City. I just can't. I can't. I can't. I love Tomlin, but it's time for Ben to go home. And then I'm going to have to put up with Aaron Rodgers possibly being a quarterback there because you know it ain't going to be Dwayne Haskins. So,
Right.
you know,
I got two things for you, Dujunne. I didn't see the play. I need you to break down what happened with the coach with him calling the timeout or whatever. I heard it was some controversy or something, but I need you to break that down for me. And just think about what about this with the NFL? Imagine a Pittsburgh Tampa Bay Super Bowl with the ageless wonders of Tom Brady versus Ben Roethlisberger. I kind of see that happening. The way the NFL is, I kind of see that happening, bro. I'm about to get the MGM app. I'm going to put a bet for Pittsburgh, Tampa Bay Super Bowl just to see if I can win some money. Because the way the NFL is right now, I could see that happening, bro.
You know, I ain't even gonna argue with that. So the play is that the Raiders run the ball and they ran the ball again, and it looked like the Raiders were just content with running the ball, and they were just trying not to put the ball in the air. They could have, but they were trying to put the ball in the air and have a turnover. It was late, and they were just looked like they were content with whatever happens. If we break one and we get in the field goal range, then we'll kick a field goal and we'll try to win the game. Old numbnuts over there, after they ran the ball, they were just content with just taking their time and lining up and running another. They were just going to run it again. Homeboy calls a timeout. And I'm like, excuse me? Like, what are you doing? Just let the clock run out. You're going to the playoffs. Does it matter that it's tied? Like, it's the most craziest thing and the craziest weekend we've had ever. What difference does it make? Both of you go to the playoffs, and Ben Roethlisberger has a nice season, and he, does his thing, puts himself in position, but he ends up going home. Whoop-de-doo. Like, the Steelers go home, but you go to the playoffs. Homeboy calls a timeout. They run another play, and they get into field goal range. They run a play, they get in the field goal range, boom. And they're like, well, you wanted to call a timeout, so we'll go ahead and win the game. And they won the game. I'm like, really, man? Come on. That's like, how dumb is that? It was obvious that the Raiders were content with running the clock out. And I mean, the announcers were even like, yeah, it looks like they're going to run it out.
I'm so happy you brought this up, Dujunne, because I was already in bed. I was going to bed. I said, they're down 15. The game is over. I turned it off. I went upstairs. I checked the score, and it says going to overtime. And I'm like, what the hell did I just miss? I run downstairs, rewind, watch how they scored 15 points in the fourth quarter, and then watch overtime where they score a field goal, and then they march down, and our guy, Dustin Hopkins, has all the pressure of the entire season on a kick, and he makes it, right? Even though we cut it, this kicker, right? But so... even at the time we said we shouldn't, right? But anyway, so he makes the clutch kick in overtime to extend the game. The game goes all the way down to the wire. It looks like they're going to just run the ball out, but they're like, no, we want to try to get the ball back. We want to try to play for the win. Call a timeout. No, just let the time go out. You could have both made the playoffs.
And the whole time, I'm thinking when Dustin Hopkins makes that kick, I hear Carroll going, we should have never let him go that soon. I tried to tell y'all we were rushing to conclusions like he was just having a bad day. See, y'all just, we do this too much. Every time a kicker has a little bit of a slump, we ready to get rid of him. We should have just kept him. I swear, I heard it. As soon as he made the kick, I'm like, yep.
I did too. I did too.
I'm just saying.
Can't even deny it. He's 100% right. I'm like, yep, Carol. Yes, you're right. be quiet.
I can see how many times have we seen it. We cut a kicker or somebody next, they Hall of Fame, Super Bowl champion, Desmond
In the
Howard,
playoffs.
MVP of the Super Bowl. I'm like,
In the playoffs. Now to this Ben and Brady deal, I could see it. And the reason why I say this is the path that they have, because the only problem is that the Bengals and Bills are too tough. Offenses are too tough, and the Steelers ain't gonna be able to. Their defense ain't good enough to stop the passing attack. They might be able to slow down the rushing, but they ain't gonna be able to stop that passing attack of those two teams. Too difficult. But we saw some. I like yesterday. I was just about to turn the game off. It was a 15-point lead. I knew the Raiders were going to win in regulation. I was about to go to bed, but I was like, the weirdest stuff has happened today. Let me just make sure that it's going to be over in regulation, and then I'll go to bed. So it's not impossible, but I don't want to see Ben. I'm done seeing Ben. I was done seeing Ben Sunday, but the Ravens couldn't get the job done. So we have to see him again in the playoffs, and Patty Melt is going to take care of that, and he will be riding off to the sunset, doing his little waves, his pageant waves, going on about his business, and he'll ride off into the sunset, and Mr. Tomlin will get his new quarterback in Aaron Rodgers and go on and resurrect the Pittsburgh Steelers and be back getting Super Bowls once again.
oh my God, if Aaron Rodgers goes to Pittsburgh, I'm going to be sick.
I think he's going to Pittsburgh. I just had this gut feeling. I mean, they can't get Russell Wilson. Are they going to keep Dwayne Haskins? You think that's going to be their starter? Absolutely not. Have you seen him spot play for them? He looked just like he was over here. Dumpster fire. But he looked good though. He show up to work looking real good though. I will give him that. He GQing it though. But he can't throw worth a lick. Under Tomlin for that.
Yeah,
Jeez.
I'm surprised.
Embarrassing me.
Roster.
Totally
Tim, I kind of know which way you're going to lean on this one, but I'll go ahead and get your take, Tim.
Well, I think it's a bad matchup because Kansas City blew out Pittsburgh badly earlier, kind of second half of the year. So just Pittsburgh can't score enough to hang with them. So I think Pittsburgh will lose pretty badly.
They scored 13 points last week.
Yeah, the Ravens defense has a lot of practice squad guys, so
Yeah.
a lot of teams would have put up more points. Their defense is Watt's really good, but their defense can't stop Kansas City enough.
Robbie, what
Kansas
do you
City, in my mind, has rounded into form. Like they started off the season in a rough fashion, but I feel like as the season progressed, they just got stronger. And I just don't see. I don't see Pittsburgh beating them in Kansas City. Like maybe if it was in Pittsburgh, maybe there'd be a chance, but like I just don't see it in Kansas City happening.
I'm downloading the MGM app right now, man. I'm letting y'all know.
You better go on and make that bet then.
But I mean, okay, but so here's the question, because the odds right now are not in your favor. So if I was a betting person, I don't know if I would take 12.5 though. Like it might be a close game.
Good God.
So 12.5. That's a lot.
Yeah. So if we're going to the gambling lines, yeah. So
12.5. Yeah, let me go ahead and they're not downloading fast enough. Hold up. Get that locked in right now.
Don't. We're not gambling advice, all right?
Yeah.
I mean, I gave up halfway through the season on my pick'ems. I don't know if I'm the guy you want to go.
Oh,
with,
don't even bring up pick'ems, Rob. Yeah,
I finished third.
Yeah. That was good.
After winning last year, I finished 10th this year, DujunneaB. 10th.
You pick a Washington every week. I done told you about that. Pick a Washington every week. You gotta stop that, man.
I can't do it, man.
Get some help.
Get my team.
Stop. Get some help. You gotta stop that, man. It'll kill you.
I don't bet on them. I just play pick'em on them. That's all.
Yeah, that's bad. Gotta stop.
All right, let's
I'll
get to the
remind people I got the closest. I said 6 wins. Everyone though in the podcast except for Brian had that they were going to have a winning record this year.
I did. I was punch drunk, and yeah.
man.
So,
Look, like I said, that was best case scenario. I was talking.
It was.
about.
That's why I hate doing pick. That's why I hate doing that. Robbie knows I hate doing
I
that.
know.
This is the reason why.
He loves doing it because at the end of the year, you're like, see, I was the closest. You guys are crazy.
That's my one thing, claim to fame, right? There you go.
All right, let's go ahead and get into the last one. We didn't win way longer than we expected in football this week.
I know, it's about 30 minutes
Last
longer.
game,
Yeah,
as Robbie
double.
mentioned, will be broadcasting live this game, a wild card weekend, the first ever wild card Monday. You have Arizona at 11-6 versus the Los Angeles Rams at 12-5, a rematch of the NFC West. You got Kyler Murray, 333 completions out of 481 attempts, 3,787 yards, 24 touchdowns, 10 interceptions with a 100.6 quarterback rating. And you got the ageless wonder that's making the playoffs, Mr. Matt Stafford, 404 completions out of 601 attempts, 4,886 yards, 41 touchdowns, and 17 interceptions. 102.9 quarterback rating. This is an 8:15 game Monday in LA. I'm just going. I got to go with LA. Just with Kyler Murray and the Arizona's inexperience in the playoffs. Stafford has been chomping at the bit for a long time to get his get into the playoffs and actually do something. Rams, they took the loss yesterday to the 49ers, but I think for the most part they're going to pretty much handle this game unless Arizona comes out defensively strong and Kyler Murray has the game of his life. I think the Rams are going to win this game. What do you say, DujunneaB?
This is the game of two teams that don't want to win. I mean, Cardinals act like they don't want to win. I don't trust the Cardinals because it seems like ever since D-Hop's been gone, Kyler's just the guy running around back there, just tossing balls up. I love Kyler, but and it's kind of also showing the youngness of the head coach. He's made some critical mistakes here in the last, I'd say 3 or 4 games. I'd say even more than that, actually. He probably about 4 games outside of that Dallas game. The 3 before the Dallas game, and their games after the Dallas game, they didn't do so well. He didn't coach very well. They didn't play very well. I just think coaching is going to probably be the deciding factor here. I don't trust Matthew Stafford. We are all starting to see that, Matthew, you can't run, you can't hide. It wasn't Detroit. It is you. You are an interception machine. You had one job yesterday, and you cost the New Orleans Saints an opportunity to get in the playoffs because you couldn't throw the ball deep enough. Like, what were you doing, man? Like, he's throwing interceptions like he's like Rex Grossman in the last 3 games, just tossing them up to the other team like it's just something to do. But he gonna win because the Cardinals just aren't good enough. They're not as good as them. Von Miller, Ramsey, that whole 9, even though they seem like they don't play together very well at times, I think the coaching of Sean McVay will make the difference. They have no choice. To me, with the moves that they made, the picks they auctioned off, it's Super Bowl or bust. But sadly, they're not getting there. You think that team can beat Green Bay? No. But they'll beat the Cardinals. But it's the battle of 2 teams that don't want to win.
I agree with DujunneaB's thoughts on this because I was looking at the last 5 games. That's what I was going to talk about was, for me, like, they lost to the Rams, at Detroit, then against Indianapolis, who is so sorry that they couldn't even beat the Jaguars to get into the playoffs themselves, which I thought was pretty ridiculous. And the only win over the last 5 games was at Dallas, and that wasn't even that great of an effort. And Arizona started the season so well. They started off on this crazy tear, if people remember. Like, they won the first 7 games, I think it was. Yeah, 7 games. And, I just think as the season went on, they got worse. And for me, there was some lulls in the game for LA, but overall, I think that they've put together a better season. And I think because it's in LA, I think that's going to be the difference maker. Right now, the Rams are only favored by 4, so it's not even like a huge favorite. I'm going to go with the Rams in this one.
And Dallas fan up in here convincing themselves that they didn't want to play the Cardinals. Get out of here. Oh, shoot.
Tim, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. Arizona's stumbling in, and I wouldn't be shocked if they won this game just because the Rams really have a terrible home field advantage. I mean, it's a disadvantage. They had so many 49ers fans. And like you said, Stafford throws a lot of really crazy picks. He's done almost nothing in the playoffs in his career. So you can't really trust him necessarily, but they're a better team and they're the hotter team. And their defensive front is really, really good. So I think they're going to win. But I'm not, I don't think it's going to be a blowout or anything.
Yeah, I think it'll be a close game for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a very entertaining wild card weekend. First ever with games on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Love the new 18-week schedule. It's going to be interesting to see how these playoffs fall out with only one team having a bye week. I always said, 2 teams having a bye was too much. So I'm anxious to see how this plays out, and we'll definitely break down all the results next week.
That'll be
DujunneaB.
a cool show. We'll break down the results of all the other ones while watching a game live towards the end of it too. So I think that that'll be an awesome second segment. We don't really talk about Washington football team, but DujunneaB, if you want to break those down, you're always welcome to join us. So it should be a fun show. I think that's a really like a unique thing, especially the first one ever. So that'll be really really kind of cool.
Yeah.
By the way, this we haven't talked about it really at all, but this national championship game is just a defensive slugfest, a 9-6 game. It's an interesting matchup here that I'll definitely, as we get to the end of the Wizards segment, break down a little bit more. But DujunneaB, real quickly, I know you do like college football. What's your take on this? It's a closer game than I would have expected.
It is. Really didn't expect. Really didn't know what to expect from Georgia. I was kind of looking at it, approaching it like Washington football team, not really sure what to expect, and you know what you're going to get from Alabama. So I'm almost thinking that Georgia did a vanilla type game plan in the SEC championship game, hoping that they could get by with that, knowing that they were going to meet them again. Didn't want to show their cards early, knowing what Nick Saban is capable of doing in his evaluation of tape. They've shown up today, and they just need to put the ball in the end zone. Whoever scores a touchdown here, I think it's going to make a difference, and it's probably going to be the one that wins. I know Georgia. I'm rooting for Georgia, but like I said, they got to do it, and I've been saying that all day. So. We'll see, but I'm not getting my hopes up.
Yeah, I hate Alabama just because I like the Aggies. We've already addressed that earlier.
Right.
And so I'm definitely rooting for Georgia, although I do think it is kind of cool if somehow Alabama wins. The only loss that they had this year was to the Aggies. So,
yes.
we could have that over them, but
yes.
I would rather Georgia win. So come from behind and find a way right now. They're down just a field goal. It's a very close game, and we're getting close to the fourth quarter right now. So, but DujunneaB, it's been a fun season breaking it down with you. We went double, maybe triple the time but I appreciate you giving us the extra time. And we'll get into some Wizards talk here. But thank you so much, and let people know what you're talking about on the podcast this week.
Well, this week we're going to talk about where we go from here. The Washington football team on the breakdown. We'll also be talking about the wild card weekend, breaking those things down as well. And we'll be talking a little Wizards, talking about Bradley Beal and how the things are working out for him as he's started to improve a little bit and not been the Achilles heel of this team.
I think y'all might get y'all a touchdown in this championship game. Dude from Georgia just broke a long run.
That'll work. I like it.
Yeah.
And
Goes ahead of us. Oh, that's a nice run down to the 11-yard line.
yeah.
3:07 left in the third.
And on the Not Bland show, which is on Ghostcast, we had the NHRA show today, talking about the 2022 season, some of the things that I'm looking forward to coming up on the season, and talking about those things, breaking those things down. And so you can go to that app if you're an Apple user, and the link is on it's in my Instagram story and on the Facebook story, so you can just click that there, or you can just go to Ghostcast and you can look up the Not Bland show, and it's right there. And it's one of the first shows right at the top. So that's what we got going on. And appreciate you guys having me on as always, man. It's a blast.
Yeah,
No problem,
a
man.
lot of fun.
Appreciate it, DujunneaB. It's definitely one of our funniest shows of the season. Too bad it's the last watch the football team segment. But yeah, definitely had fun breaking it down as always. Appreciate your knowledge and insight coming from down south with the SEC and the NFC South. So appreciate it as always. And we'd love to have you back on next week to break down Wild Card Weekend.
Sounds good. I'll be looking forward to it.
Sounds good, man. Have a good night.
I'll let you later.
You
on,
too.
man. All right.
Enjoy
All right.
the game. Hopefully they'll score here. Go Dogs.
Go Dogs.
So that's awesome.